Admiral Kang Tae-woo was drinking his morning coffee when the alarm bells started ringing through Luna Station. He set down his cup and walked quickly to the command center. The large room was filled with officers running between computer screens and shouting orders. "What's happening?" Kang asked his second dash in Dash Command. Commander Park Ji-ho looked up from his screen with wide eyes. "Sir, you need to see this. We're getting a signal from the edge of the solar system." Kang walked over to the main display screen. The message was clear but impossible. The words made his hands shake. "This is Captain Kim Dong-min of the UES Perseverance, requesting permission to return to Earth." "That's not possible," Kang whispered. The Perseverance had disappeared 15 years ago. It was supposed to be humanity's greatest achievement, a massive ship carrying 50,000 people to start a new colony. When it vanished during its first hyperspace jump, the entire human race mourned. "Sir, we're getting energy readings from that location," Park said. "The numbers don't make sense. Whatever is out there is producing more power than our entire defense fleet." Kang stared at the screen. "Are you sure it's really the Perseverance?" "The ship codes match perfectly." "But sir, there's something else. The ship appears to be much larger than it should be. Our sensors show it's the same size as before on the outside, but the energy signature suggests something much bigger." Captain Lee Soo-jin was in the pilot seat of her fast ship Aurora when the call came through. "Captain Lee, this is Luna Station. We need you to investigate something at the edge of our solar system." "What kind of something?" Soo-jin asked while checking her ship's systems. "A ghost ship. The Perseverance has returned." Soo-jin almost laughed. Everyone knew that story. The great colony ship that vanished with all those people. "Sir, that's impossible. The Perseverance was lost 15 years ago." "We know how it sounds, but we have confirmed signals. Take your crew and make first contact. Be careful." As the Aurora flew toward the coordinates, Soo-jin's crew gathered on the bridge. Her weapons officer, Lieutenant Nam Hyun-woo, was checking his screens. "Captain, I'm getting some very strange readings ahead." "What kind of strange?" "The space around. Our target is, bent, like someone folded it, and there are energy patterns I've never seen before." Soo-jin looked out the front window. At first she saw nothing but stars. Then, slowly, something came into view that made her crew gasp. The Perseverance was there, but it was surrounded by a field of shimmering light. Patterns of pure energy danced around the huge ship like living things. "This is impossible," whispered her navigator, Ensign Choi Min-ho. The ship looked exactly like the Perseverance from the history books, but something was very different. The metal hull seemed to glow with its own light. Strange symbols moved across its surface like water, and the space around it was wrong, twisted in ways that hurt to look at. "Aurora to Perseverance," Soo-jin spoke into her radio. "This is Captain Lee Soo-jin of Earth Defense Force. Please respond." The answer came immediately, clear and calm. "Captain Lee, this is Captain Kim Dong-min. It's good to hear from Earth again." Soo-jin felt a chill. Kim Dong-min had been the captain of the Perseverance 15 years ago. He should be much older now, but his voice sounded exactly the same. "Captain Kim, we need to confirm your identity. Please provide your authorization codes." "Of course." Kim gave the correct codes without hesitation. They matched perfectly with the records from 15 years ago. "Captain Kim, where have you been? The entire human race thought you were dead." There was a pause. "That's a long story, Captain. We've been learning, growing. We have much to share with Earth. We request permission to approach Luna Station." Back at Luna Station, Admiral Kang was in an emergency meeting with Earth's government leaders. The video call showed worried faces from around the world. "Are we sure this is really the Perseverance?" asked General Martinez from Earth Defense Headquarters. Commander Park answered. "The ship codes match. The captain knows all the right passwords, and our deep scans confirm the basic structure of the original ship." "But," Kang could hear the "but" in Park's voice, "but the ship is generating impossible amounts of energy. And, sir, our population scans show over 200,000 people on board. The room went quiet. "That's impossible," said Dr. Yoon Hai-ri, Earth's chief scientist, speaking from Seoul. "The ship only carried 50,000 colonists originally." "I know it sounds crazy," Park continued, "but our sensors don't lie. There are definitely more people on that ship than when it left." Prime Minister Lee from Earth's Global Council spoke up. "What does Captain Kim say happened to them?" "He won't give details over the radio. He says they need to meet in person to explain everything. He claims they bring gifts that will change humanity's place in the universe forever." "Admiral." Kang looked at the main screen showing the image of the Perseverance surrounded by impossible light. "What's your gut feeling, Commander?" Park was quiet for a moment. "Sir, I've been studying space for 20 years. I've never seen anything like this. That ship is operating on physics we don't understand. But the people on board are definitely human. I can tell from their communication patterns and life sign readings. Are they a threat?" "I don't think so. If they wanted to hurt us, they could have done it already. The power levels we're reading could destroy our entire defense fleet." Captain Kim's voice came over the radio again. "Luna Station, this is the Perseverance. We understand your caution. We've been gone a long time and we know we look different now. But we are still human. We are still the same people who left Earth 15 years ago. We've just grown." Soo-jin was still watching the impossible ship from her position nearby. "Captain Kim, can you explain what happened to you?" "We encountered something wonderful, Captain Lee. Beings who taught us that the universe is much bigger and more amazing than we ever imagined. They showed us how to build machines that can do impossible things. Now we want to share these gifts with our homeworld." Admiral Kang made his decision. "Perseverance, this is Admiral Kang Tae-woo, Commander of Luna Station. You have permission to approach, but you will dock at our secure berth, and you will submit to full inspections." "Understood, Admiral. We look forward to coming home." As the Perseverance began moving toward Luna Station, its impossible engines made space itself bend around the ship. The crew of every human ship in the area watched in amazement as the Lost Colony vessel traveled faster than light without using normal hyperspace. Whatever had happened to the Perseverance during those 15 lost years, it was clear that humanity was about to change forever. The Perseverance was too big for any normal docking bay at Luna Station. The engineering teams had to work for 6 hours to modify the largest berth, cutting through metal walls and expanding the space. Even then, the ship barely fit. What made it even stranger was that the ship looked bigger on the inside than the outside. "That's impossible," Chief Engineer BAE Sung-min told Admiral Kang as they watched the docking process. "Our measurements show the ship is the same size as the original plans, but our sensors detect interior spaces that shouldn't exist." Admiral Kang nodded grimly. "Everything about this situation is impossible. Let's focus on what we can understand." "Captain." Kim Dong-min walked off his ship looking exactly as he had 15 years ago. He hadn't aged a single day. Behind him came Chief Engineer Choi Min-ho and Colonial Administrator Han So-young. They all looked healthy and confident, but there was something different about them. Their eyes seemed brighter, and they moved with unusual grace. "Admiral Kang," Kim said with a warm smile, "thank you for allowing us to come home." "Captain Kim, we need answers. Where have you been for 15 years? What happened to your ship? And how do you look exactly the same as when you left?" Kim gestured to a nearby conference room. "This will take some time to explain. What we experienced, it's not easy to believe." In the conference room, Kim began his story. "When we made our hyperspace jump 15 years ago, something went wrong. But it wasn't a malfunction. We were pulled into a place between normal space by beings called the Architects." "Beings? What kind of beings?" Admiral Kang asked. "Ancient. Creatures who exist outside our normal reality. They've been watching humanity for thousands of years. They were curious about us because we do something most species can't do. We keep trying even when things seem impossible." Han So-young continued the story. "The Architects offered us a choice. We could return to Earth immediately and continue our normal lives, or we could stay and learn from them. Learn how to build machines that work on principles beyond our current understanding. What did you choose? Commander Park Ji-ho asked. We chose to learn, Choi Min-ho said. For 15 years in their realm, we worked alongside the architects. They taught us about the deeper laws of the universe. They showed us how to build what they call void engines. Void engines? Admiral Kang leaned forward. Kim nodded. Machines that don't just use energy. They create it from the basic structure of space itself. They tap into the quantum foam that underlies all reality. With these engines, we can travel instantly anywhere in the universe. We can change matter at the atomic level. We can even affect time in small areas. That's impossible, Dr. Yoon Hae-ri said over the video link from Earth. You're talking about breaking the fundamental laws of physics. Choi Min-ho smiled. We're not breaking the laws of physics, Doctor. We're using laws that humans haven't discovered yet. Would you like us to demonstrate? Before anyone could answer, Choi touched a device on his wrist. The conference table in front of them began to glow. Slowly, the metal changed into crystal, then into wood, then back to metal. Everyone in the room stared in shock. The void engines don't just power our ship, Han So-young explained. They've changed us too. We live longer now. We think more clearly. We understand the universe in ways we never could before. Are you still human? Admiral Kang asked quietly. More human than we ever were, Kim replied. The architects don't change what you are. They help you become the best version of yourself. We still love, laugh, cry, and dream. We still care about our families and our home. But now we can do things that once seemed impossible. Commander Park was studying his scanner readings. Sir, I'm detecting some kind of energy field around all three of them. It's subtle, but it's there. That's the connection to the void engines, Choi explained. Everyone on our ship has it now. It helps us work with the machines more effectively. The engines respond to human will and emotion. The more we need them to work, the better they perform. Dr. Yoon's voice came over the speaker. How many people are on your ship now? Our scans show over 200,000. Correct, Han said. We've had children. Many children. The enhanced environment on our ship, powered by the void engines, has allowed our population to grow in ways that would be impossible under normal conditions. And these children? Admiral Kang asked. They were born with the connection to the void engines. They're human, but they can do things that previous generations couldn't. They can see patterns in space and time. They can communicate over vast distances without technology. They represent humanity's next step forward. Kim's expression grew serious. But we didn't return just to show you these wonders. We came back because Earth is in danger. What kind of danger? Admiral Kang felt his stomach tighten. The architects warned us about a force called the hegemony. It's a galactic empire that destroys or enslaves every new species it encounters. They've been slowly working their way toward Earth for decades. They'll arrive soon. How soon? Commander Park asked. Our long-range sensors detect their advanced fleets already entering the outer edges of this solar system. They have thousands of ships and weapons that can crack planets apart. The room fell silent. Finally, Admiral Kang spoke. What can we do against something like that? Choi Min-ho smiled confidently. We can fight back. The void engines don't just power impossible machines. They give us the ability to build an impossible defense. But we need to work together. We need to share this technology with Earth's fleets. Can you do that? Dr. Yoon asked from the speaker. We can teach your engineers to build basic void engines, Han replied. But there's something important to understand. These machines don't work like normal technology. They respond to the pilot's determination and will to protect others. A coward can't operate a void engine effectively, but someone fighting for their family, their home, their species, they can make these machines do miraculous things. Admiral Kang stood up. How long do we have? Maybe 3 weeks before their main fleet arrives, Kim said. But their scout ships will be here much sooner. We need to start upgrading your defenses immediately. And you think this void engine technology can help us win? Kim's eyes grew bright with certainty. Admiral, the hegemony has conquered hundreds of species using brute force and superior numbers. But they've never faced a species that could fight. With machines powered by hope and determination. They've never faced humans who refuse to give up. Choi touched his wrist device again. This time a holographic display appeared showing Earth's current defense fleet. With void engines, every one of these ships becomes capable of things the enemy can't imagine. A single human frigate powered by impossible machines and an impossible crew can take on an entire alien battle group. Because humans have something the hegemony doesn't, Han added. We have the ability to grow beyond our limitations when we absolutely have to. The void engines take that human trait and make it literally reshape reality. Admiral Kang looked around the room at his officers. Their faces showed fear but also hope. Captain Kim, what do you need from us? Access to your shipyards and your best engineers. And most importantly, crews who understand what they're fighting for. The void engines work best for people who truly believe in protecting something precious. Kim stood up and looked out the window at Earth, hanging in the darkness. 15 years ago, we left as colonists seeking a new home. Today, we return as humanity's hope for survival. The architects chose well when they decided to help us. Now we need to prove that their faith in humanity was justified. And if we fail? Commander Park asked. Kim turned back to the room, his expression completely confident. Commander, we won't fail. Humans don't know how to give up. And now we have machines that turn that stubbornness into a force that can reshape the universe. 3 days after the Perseverance docked at Luna Station, Earth's long-range sensors picked up something terrifying. Massive alien ships were appearing at the edge of the solar system. Not just a few ships, but thousands of them, each one larger than Earth's biggest warships. Fleet Admiral Bae Sung-min sat in his command chair aboard the hegemony flagship Dominant Will and studied the data about the human homeworld. For 30 years, he had been conquering primitive species for the Empire. Earth was supposed to be just another easy victory. Admiral, his tactical officer, reported, "Our advanced scouts have completed their survey of the human system. They have approximately 200 defensive vessels, mostly small frigates and destroyers. No significant planetary defenses." Bae Sung-min smiled coldly. Typical for a young species. How long since they developed faster-than-light travel? Only about 50 years, sir. They're still using primitive fusion drives and basic energy weapons. Perfect. Deploy the standard conquest pattern. Orbital bombardment of their major cities, then ground forces for cleanup. This should take less than a week. On Luna Station, Commander Park Ji-ho was staring at his sensor displays in disbelief. Admiral Kang, the alien fleet is massive. We're counting at least 3,000 ships, including 50 that appear to be the size of small moons. Admiral Kang felt sick. Earth's entire defense fleet was only 200 ships, and most of those were patrol vessels with light weapons. What's our tactical assessment? Without the void engine upgrades, we'd be completely destroyed in the first hour of battle, Park said honestly. Even with the upgrades, we're facing impossible odds. Captain Kim Dong-min entered the command center. Admiral, our engineers are working around the clock to install void engines in your ships, but we need more time. How much more time? At least 2 weeks to upgrade your entire fleet. We don't have 2 weeks, Admiral Kang said grimly. Our deep space monitors show the alien vanguard will arrive in 3 days. Kim nodded calmly. Then we'll have to make do with what we have. The Perseverance and the 30 ships we've already upgraded will handle the first wave. 30 ships against 3,000? Park looked horrified. That's suicide. Commander, you're thinking like someone who fights with normal technology, Kim replied. Void engines don't work that way. Watch and learn. On Earth, Commander Jang Woo-seok was coordinating the planet's defenses from Deep Space Command in Geneva. The news of the approaching alien fleet had caused panic in every major city. Millions of people were trying to evacuate to underground shelters. Sir, his communications officer reported, we're getting reports from the outer colonies. The aliens have destroyed the research station at Titan. and completely wiped out the mining facility on Ceres. Jiang clenched his fists. Any survivors? None, sir. They're not taking prisoners. Dr. Quan Yunji was working frantically in her laboratory, trying to understand the void engine technology that the Perseverance engineers had shared with Earth scientists. The principles seemed to violate everything she thought she knew about physics. It's not just an engine, she explained to her research team. It's more like a device that responds to the operator's mental state. The more determined and focused the pilot is, the more powerful the engine becomes. That's impossible, said her assistant, Dr. Shin Aaron. Machines don't respond to emotions. These ones do. According to the data from the Perseverance, the void engines actually tap into quantum fields that are influenced by conscious thought. It's as if the universe itself responds to human willpower. Dr. Quan studied the technical diagrams. There's something else. The engines seem to work better when the operator is fighting to protect others rather than just to win a battle. It's like they're designed to reward selfless courage. Captain O.J. Sung was aboard the newly upgraded destroyer, Indomitable, testing its new void engine systems. His ship was one of the 30 that had been successfully modified. The engine hummed with a strange energy that seemed to respond to his thoughts. Engineering, how are the new systems performing? He asked over the intercom. Chief Engineer Nam Hyun-woo replied from the engine room. Captain, these readings are incredible. The engine is producing 10 times more power than our old fusion reactor, but it's completely stable. And sir, there's something strange. The power output seems to increase when we run combat simulations. What do you mean? When we practice defending Earth, the engines work better. When we practice attacking enemy positions, they don't respond as well. It's like the machines can tell the difference between fighting for protection and fighting for conquest. O.J. Sung nodded thoughtfully. The engineers from the Perseverance had warned them about this. The void engines were designed by beings who believed in growth and protection, not destruction and domination. All hands, this is the captain, he announced shipwide. Remember what we're fighting for. We're not trying to conquer anyone. We're protecting our families, our world, our future. The engines respond to that purpose. Back on the Hegemony flagship, Fleet Admiral BAE Sung-min was reviewing intelligence reports about human military capabilities. Something was bothering him, but he couldn't identify what. Admiral, his intelligence officer reported, our scouts have detected some unusual energy signatures from the human ships. They appear to be using a technology we haven't seen before. What kind of technology? Unknown, sir. The energy patterns don't match any known propulsion or weapons systems in our database. Bae Sung-min frowned. In 30 years of conquest, he had encountered many different technologies. Most primitive species used simple fusion or antimatter systems. A few had developed basic space-folding drives, but he had never seen energy signatures like this. Could they have received help from another advanced species? Possible, sir, but our deep space monitors haven't detected any other advanced civilizations in this region of space. Keep monitoring. If the humans have received outside help, I want to know about it before we engage. On Luna Station, Captain Lee Soo-jin was preparing her ship Aurora for the coming battle. The void engine installation had been completed just hours before. The new technology felt strange and powerful, like having a living creature connected to her ship's systems. Captain, her navigator Ensign Choi Min-ho reported, the void engine is responding to our approach vector calculations. It's actually suggesting more efficient routes than our computers calculated. The engine is making suggestions? Yes, ma'am. It's like it knows where we want to go and how to get there better than we do. Soo-jin was beginning to understand what Captain Kim had meant about the engines responding to human will. The machine wasn't just following her commands, it was anticipating her needs and enhancing her abilities. All ships. This is Luna Station. Control. Admiral Kang's voice came over the fleet communication system. Enemy Vanguard will arrive in 18 hours. All void engine-equipped vessels will form the first defensive line. Remember, you're not just fighting with superior technology. You're fighting with machines that amplify human determination and courage. Captain Kim's voice joined the communication. To all fleet commanders, the architects gave us these engines because they believe in humanity's potential for growth and protection. Show them they chose correctly. Fight not for victory, but for the survival of everything you love. The engines will respond. As the human fleet prepared for the most important battle in their species' history, something remarkable was happening. The 30 ships equipped with void engines were beginning to glow with the same strange energy that surrounded the Perseverance. The machines were responding to the collective will of their crews to defend Earth at any cost. Fleet Admiral BAE Sungmin's scouts reported back with increasingly disturbing news. Sir, the human ships are exhibiting energy patterns that exceed our theoretical maximums. Some of their smaller vessels are producing power signatures comparable to our heavy cruisers. That's impossible. Their technology is centuries behind ours. Yes, sir, but the readings are accurate. Whatever they've done to their ships, they're operating on principles we don't understand. For the first time in his long career, BAE Sungmin felt a flicker of uncertainty. The humans were supposed to be a simple conquest, but nothing about their preparations seemed simple. Proceed with the attack as planned, he ordered. But maintain maximum caution. I want to know what we're really facing before we commit our main force. The stage was set for a confrontation between two completely different philosophies of power. The hegemony fought with overwhelming force and advanced technology. Humanity was about to fight with something much more dangerous. Impossible. Machines powered by the refusal to surrender. The first battle happened near Jupiter. The hegemony's advanced fleet of 200 ships met humanity's 30 void engine vessels in the space around the gas giant. Fleet Admiral BAE Sungmin watched from his flagship as what should have been an easy victory turned into complete chaos. Captain O.J. Sung commanded the Indomitable as it faced off against 5 enemy cruisers. When the hegemony ships opened fire with their plasma cannons, something impossible happened. The human destroyer seemed to flicker out of normal space, allowing the enemy weapons to pass right through it like it wasn't there. Engineering, what just happened? O.J. Sung shouted over his ship's intercom. Chief Engineer Nam Hyun-woo's voice crackled back from the engine room. Captain, the void engine responded to our need to avoid destruction. It shifted us partially into another dimension. We're still here, but their weapons can't touch us. Can we still fire back? Yes, sir. Our weapons can reach them, but theirs can't reach us. O.J. Sung smiled grimly. All weapons, target the lead cruiser. Show them what impossible looks like. The Indomitable's energy cannon struck the hegemony cruiser with devastating force. The enemy ship, designed to withstand normal energy weapons, was completely unprepared for weapons powered by void engines. Its shields collapsed instantly, and the ship broke apart in a brilliant explosion. On the hegemony flagship, Fleet Admiral BAE Sungmin stared at his tactical displays in disbelief. How did a single human destroyer just destroy one of our heavy cruisers? Sir, our sensors can't explain what happened, his tactical officer reported. The human ships seem to phase in and out of normal space, and their weapons are producing energy levels that should be impossible for a vessel that size. Similar impossible battles were happening throughout the Jupiter system. Captain Lee Soo-jin's Aurora was dancing between enemy formations like a ghost, appearing suddenly to strike, and then vanishing before return fire could reach her. The Perseverance itself was fighting 10 enemy dreadnoughts at once, its void engines, allowing it to be in multiple places simultaneously. This is impossible, Admiral BAE Sungmin muttered. Their technology level was centuries behind ours. Captain Kim Dongmin's voice came over an open communication channel that somehow reached every ship in both fleets. Admiral BAE Sungmin, I offer you and your forces one chance to withdraw. We don't want to destroy you, but we will protect our home at any cost. BAE Sungmin's pride flared. Human captain, we are the hegemony. We have conquered 100 worlds. We do not retreat from primitives. Then you'll learn why the architects chose humanity, Kim replied calmly. The battle intensified. Captain, Sim Ye-jin commanded the frigate Defiance against impossible odds. Her small ship was surrounded by 12 hegemony destroyers, all firing at once. Her ship was taking critical damage, her crew was wounded, and her weapons were nearly depleted. "Captain, we can't take much more of this," her engineer reported. "Hull breaches on 4 decks. Life support is failing." Sim Ye-jin looked at her crew. They were scared but determined. They knew they were probably going to die, but not one of them suggested surrendering. "All hands, this is the captain. We're not going to make it out of this fight. But our families are behind us, our world is behind us. If we fall here, we fall protecting everything we love." Something remarkable happened. The Defiance's void engine suddenly blazed with energy unlike anything seen before. The damaged frigate stopped being just a ship and became something more. A weapon of pure human determination made manifest. When the hegemony destroyers fired their next volley, the Defiance didn't dodge or phase out of space. Instead, it absorbed every shot and converted the enemy's own weapons into power for its engines. The small frigate then unleashed a wave of energy that destroyed all 12 enemy ships in a single pulse. On the hegemony flagship, every sensor was screaming warnings. "Sir, we're reading energy levels that exceed our maximum theoretical limits. That human frigate just produced more power than our entire battle group." Fleet Admiral Bae Sung-min realized he was facing something completely outside his experience. The humans weren't just using advanced technology. They were using technology that responded to their emotional state, their determination, their willingness to sacrifice for others. "All ships fall back to the asteroid belt," he ordered. "We need to reassess our tactical approach." But the retreat didn't go as planned. The human ships, powered by void engines that grew stronger with each act of courage, pursued the hegemony forces relentlessly. What should have been an organized withdrawal became a panicked flight. Dr. Kwon Yoon-ji was monitoring the battle from her laboratory on Luna Station. The data she was receiving defied all known laws of physics. "The void engines aren't just providing power," she explained to her team. "They're somehow converting human emotions and determination into actual physical force. The more desperately our pilots need to succeed, the more powerful their ships become." "How is that possible?" Dr. Shin Aaron asked. "I think the engines tap into quantum fields that most species can't access. But humans have something special. We refuse to accept defeat even when logic says we should give up. The engines take that refusal and make it literally change reality." The real test came during the Battle of Mars. Fleet Admiral Bae Sung-min had regrouped his forces and brought his super dreadnought Eternal Dominion into the fight. The massive ship was 5 kilometers long and carried enough firepower to crack a planet's surface. Captain Sim Ye-jin's Defiance, still damaged from the Jupiter battle, was the only human ship in position to intercept the super dreadnought before it could reach Mars and its 3 million colonists. "Captain," her tactical officer reported, "that thing outweighs us by a factor of 1,000. We can't possibly stop it." Sim Ye-jin looked at the display showing Mars in the distance. She thought about the families living there, the children, playing in the domed cities, the researchers working to build humanity's future among the stars. "Maybe we can't stop it," she said quietly, "but we can try. And sometimes trying is enough." The Defiance charged directly at the Eternal Dominion. The super dreadnought's weapons fired continuously, hitting the small frigate with enough energy to vaporize a small moon. But something incredible happened. Instead of being destroyed, the Defiance began to absorb the enemy fire and convert it into power for its void engine. "Captain, the engine is doing something I've never seen before," her engineer reported in amazement. "It's not just using our determination to power the ship, it's using the enemy's aggression against them. Every shot they fire at us makes us stronger." The Defiance struck the super dreadnought like a bullet made of pure willpower. The massive hegemony ship, designed to be invincible, cracked down the middle and exploded in a fireball visible from Earth. Fleet Admiral Bae Sung-min escaped in a life pod, his mind reeling from what he had witnessed. The humans had just destroyed his most powerful ship with a damaged frigate that should have been scrapped after the first battle. "This is not possible," he whispered to himself. "No species can fight like this. No technology can work like this." But he was wrong. The void engines worked exactly as the architects had designed them. They turned human determination and the willingness to protect others into a force that could literally reshape reality. Every time a human crew faced impossible odds and refused to surrender, their engines grew more powerful. Captain Kim Dong-min sent another message to the remaining hegemony forces. Admiral, your super dreadnought is destroyed. Your advance fleet is scattered. You can continue this fight and watch your entire invasion force be destroyed, or you can listen to what we're trying to tell you. BAE Sung-min, floating in his life pod, among the wreckage of his flagship, finally responded. What are you trying to tell us? That there's more than one way to use power. You use it to conquer and destroy. We use it to protect and grow. The universe itself responds differently to those two approaches. Your ships are impossible, BAE Sung-min said. Our ships are powered by something your empire has forgotten how to use, Kim replied. Hope, love, the willingness to sacrifice for others, the refusal to give up when everything you care about is at stake. Those aren't just emotions, Admiral. In the hands of the right species, with the right technology, they become weapons more powerful than anything your empire has ever faced. The surviving hegemony ships began a full retreat toward the edge of the solar system. They had come expecting an easy conquest and instead found an enemy that broke every rule of warfare they understood. But Fleet Admiral BAE Sung-min knew his empire wouldn't accept defeat. They would return with the full main fleet, tens of thousands of ships with weapons capable of destroying entire star systems. The question was whether humanity's impossible machines would be enough to face the full might of a galactic empire. The answer would depend on just how far human determination could bend the laws of reality. Fleet Admiral BAE Sung-min returned to the hegemony's main fleet with news that his superiors refused to believe. You're telling us that a handful of primitive human ships destroyed our advance force? Supreme Admiral Torcaney spoke from his massive command ship that was larger than Earth's moon. Yes, sir. They're using technology that operates outside known physics. Their ships become more powerful when facing desperate situations. Impossible. Deploy the full invasion force. 30,000 ships should be enough to deal with whatever tricks these humans have learned. But BAE Sung-min had seen something. During the battles that troubled him deeply, the human crews weren't just fighting with superior technology. They were fighting with something his empire had lost long ago. The absolute determination to protect what they loved, regardless of the cost to themselves. On Earth, Captain Kim Dong-min made a difficult decision. The approaching hegemony main fleet was too large to defeat with conventional battle tactics, even with void engines. He would have to take the fight to the source. Admiral Kang, I'm requesting permission to take the Perseverance into the dimension where the architects live. If the hegemony follows us there, perhaps the architects can help them understand what they've become. Admiral Kang studied the tactical reports showing 30,000 enemy ships approaching Earth. It's suicide, Captain. Maybe. But it's also our best chance to end this war without destroying both our species. Captain Kim activated the Perseverance's most advanced void engine systems. Space around the ship began to bend and twist until reality itself seemed to fold. The massive vessel disappeared into the space between dimensions, leaving only a swirling portal behind. Fleet Admiral BAE Sung-min, now commanding a smaller task force, saw the portal and made an impulsive decision. That would change everything. All ships follow that human vessel. We'll end this war where it started. 2,000 hegemony ships plunged through the portal into the realm of the architects. What they found there was beyond anything either species had imagined. The space between dimensions was filled with structures of pure light and energy. Beings of impossible beauty and wisdom moved through constructs that existed in more dimensions than the mind could comprehend. The architects had been waiting. Welcome, a voice spoke directly into the minds of every human and alien present. We are pleased that both species have chosen to come before us. Captain Kim Dong-min stood on his bridge and spoke aloud, knowing the architects could hear him. Great architects, the hegemony threatens to destroy my species and countless others. They use power only for conquest and domination. Fleet Admiral BAE Sung-min found himself able to speak as well. These humans have technology that violates natural law. They destroyed our forces with impossible machines. Both statements are true, the architect replied. But both species misunderstand the nature of power itself. The space around them changed, showing images of countless worlds and civilizations. For millions of years, we have watched species rise and fall. Most, like your hegemony, use power to control others. They grow strong through conquest, but eventually stagnate because they have no room left to grow. The images shifted to show the hegemony's empire, billions of enslaved beings on thousands of worlds, all serving a single massive war machine. But occasionally we find a species like humanity. They use power to protect and nurture growth in others. Such species are rare and precious because they represent the universe's tendency toward greater complexity and beauty. Fleet Admiral BAE Sungmin felt something he hadn't experienced in decades: doubt about his empire's methods. We brought order to chaos. We united the galaxy under one rule. You brought stagnation to growth, the architect corrected gently. You turned a galaxy of infinite potential into a single static empire, but you can choose a different path. The architect's attention turned to the human ships. Captain Kim, your species has proven worthy of the gift we gave you. The Void Engines respond to human nature because you instinctively use power to create rather than destroy, to protect rather than conquer. What happens now? Kim asked. Now you have a choice to make, and so does Admiral Bae Sungmin. You can continue fighting until one species destroys the other, or you can work together to transform the galaxy into something better than either could create alone. The space around them filled with new images, worlds freed from hegemony control, species learning to grow and develop according to their own nature, humans teaching others to use technology for creation rather than destruction. Fleet. Admiral BAE Sungmin stared at these visions. For the first time in his career, he saw what his empire could become if it chose growth over conquest. What would happen to our existing structure? Our ships? Our people? Those who choose transformation will find new purposes, the architect explained. Your ships can become exploration vessels instead of weapons of war. Your soldiers can become teachers and protectors. Your empire can become a federation of free worlds working together. Captain Kim stepped forward. And those who refuse to change will be allowed to return to their old ways, but they will find that the universe itself has changed. The Void Engine technology is spreading. Other species will soon learn to build machines that respond to hope and determination rather than fear and aggression. Conquest will become impossible because the act of defending against it will make the defenders stronger than the attackers. Images around them showed this new reality. Hegemony fleets arriving to conquer worlds only to find populations equipped with defensive technologies that grew more powerful, the more desperate the situation became. Fleet Admiral BAE Sungmin made his decision. I choose transformation, but I can only speak for myself and the ships under my direct command. That is enough to begin, the architect replied. Change spreads like ripples in water. Others will see the benefits of choosing growth over stagnation. Dr. Shin A-rin, who had been brought aboard the Perseverance as Earth's representative scientist, spoke up. What about the species the hegemony has already enslaved? Can they be freed? That will be humanity's first great work in this new galaxy, the architect explained. With Void Engine technology, you can liberate worlds not through conquest but by teaching their populations to free themselves. The engines work for any species that chooses protection and growth over domination. Captain Kim smiled. A galaxy where every species has access to technology that makes defense stronger than offense, where protecting others is more powerful than conquering them. Exactly. You will find that many hegemony worlds will welcome liberation. They have been forced into service, but their hearts yearn for freedom to grow according to their own natures. The architect's presence seemed to grow warmer. But remember, this technology comes with responsibility. The Void Engines will not work for those who seek personal power or glory. They respond only to genuine desire to protect and nurture others. Fleet Admiral BAE Sungmin looked at his tactical displays showing the ships under his command. My crews have spent their entire lives believing that strength comes from the ability to destroy enemies. How can they learn to use technology that requires them to care about protecting others? Captain Kim turned to the former enemy commander. Admiral, would you be willing to let some of my people work with your crews? We can teach them how to think about power differently. You would trust us after we tried to destroy your world? Everyone deserves the chance to choose growth over stagnation. Besides, the void engines won't let your people use them for conquest. They'll have to learn to care about others if they want the technology to work. 6 months later, Captain Ryu Min-jun stood on the bridge of humanity's newest starship, the Possibility. His crew included both humans and former hegemony personnel who had chosen transformation. They were approaching a world called Catharix, where an enslaved population had sent out desperate calls for help. Captain, his tactical officer reported, "We're detecting 12 hegemony patrol ships in orbit around the planet. They're ordering us to leave." "Are these ships crewed by those who chose transformation or those who refused?" "Unknown, sir." Ryu Min-jun activated his communication system. "Hegemony vessels, this is Captain Ryu Min-jun of the Earthship Possibility. We're here to offer the people of Catharix a choice about their future." The response came from Admiral Kex Moraine, one of the hegemony commanders who had refused transformation. "Human vessel, this world belongs to the hegemony. Leave now or be destroyed." "I'm sorry you feel that way, Admiral, but we're not leaving." The hegemony ships opened fire with everything they had, but something impossible happened. The people of Catharix, inspired by the human ships' willingness to face overwhelming odds to protect them, began to feel something they hadn't experienced in decades. Hope. That hope, broadcast on communication channels the humans had established, reached the Possibility's void engines. The technology responded not just to the human crew's determination, but to the desperate desire for freedom of an entire enslaved world. The Possibility became more than just a ship. It became the physical manifestation of billions of peoples yearning for freedom. The hegemony weapons couldn't even scratch its hull, while its return fire disabled the enemy's ships without killing their crews. "This is impossible," Admiral Moraine transmitted from his